NMLS number 65084, equal housing lender. Woo!
As an adult, don't we all miss spring break? Nothing like taking a week off from all your responsibilities. Well, here's the next best thing for adults, a spring break from house payments. SaveWithConrad.com can help you get rid of all your credit card debt, just like that. We're routinely helping our listeners save $5, $6, $7, even $800 a month. And you don't need perfect credit or money out of your pocket to do this, but check this out, no house payments for 2 months. At SaveWithConrad.com.
Words are about to be spoken here on The Extreme Life of Matt Hardy, presented to you by the Ad Free Shows Network and Podcast Heat. I, of course, am John Alba, joined as I am every single week by the broken one, the woken one, the spoken one himself, Mr. Matt Hardy, joining us from the Heartland today. How are you, my friend?
Doing great, my man. Doing great. And I'm super excited about this show. This is maybe the most excited I've ever been about an Extreme Life of Matt Hardy podcast, because today I have a very special guest. We're not only interviewing him, I want him to come in and do the current news, everything else. I mean, I can't spend enough time with this guy. I want to introduce to each and every one of you. You know, we didn't get along at first, but we've became besties. You know, my best friend and my current stablemate, my current boss, he's the best human being I know on the face of planet Earth.
Wow.
All ego, Ethan Page. Come on in here, my man.
All right.
How are you, buddy?
You're getting a bonus for that intro.
Oh, thank you.
The best human being on the face of the planet, man. I mean, I'm sure you've gotten that before, right?
Yeah, from my kids, not my employees, but this is pretty good.
Yeah. I'm very excited, man. Now, I just want to get in here. I just wanted you to experience all of this.
Yeah, thanks for sharing so much of your life with me now.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Same. We
Are-
have so much in common.
I agree.
Is the House Hardy calling him Tio at this point, Matt?
Yeah, they are. We've trained them that. Yeah.
You didn't tell me that.
Yeah, they're calling me Tio. You're a brother and you're an uncle. So you're in.
How about that?
I'm already sweating. This is just started.
Yeah, all the boys, all the baby Hardy boys said to tell Tio hello when I go to work.
Oh my God.
That is amazing. Wow, so quickly. What a turnaround. This is a story for the ages. We love great stories in pro
It
wrestling.
feels pretty good. It feels better than I felt when I was being a dick to you. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, man. We're going to live happily ever after.
Well, we're going to talk about your whole story together here on the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy. All ego Ethan Page joining us here. This is really cool for me. I first interacted with Ego, 7 years ago in some bingo hall in Orono, Maine, and to see you on the main stage doing it up with Matt Hardy is pretty damn cool, man. How you doing? How have things been over on the AEW realm for you?
Great. I mean, that was a long 7 years, but I'm happy where it ended up.
I'd say so. A few things have happened in between then. Ethan, what Matt and I love to do at the beginning of this podcast, we kind of catch up on the current events and what's going down in the wrestling world. And I think we would love to invite you in on that conversation. I guess we can start with what's going down in AEW. Big dynamite coming up tonight. By the time this drops on the main feed, everyone will have seen how it played out. But for you guys in particular, Stokely Hathaway, toe-to-toe with Hook. I saw the training videos. How'd all that go down?
Yeah, I mean, that was a very small clip. We've been doing that with him for weeks, every single day. And I feel like he's in a good position to defend himself tonight.
I do too. I mean, did you see that dragon sleeper he put on that guy in
Oh,
Canada?
my God, yeah.
I thought he was going to kill him.
I mean, he has several different versions of the sleeper. He can put you to sleep in several different ways.
Yep.
And you know what? I really saw a light go off in his mind. Whenever we were training him on that day, we used some of the footage for the video we did.
Yes.
But the very last thing we did, I was teaching him how to counter Hook's Red Rum.
Yeah.
And I actually caught him in it, and I ended up choking him out. I mean, he had it cut from the video, obviously, because it was a little embarrassing, I guess. But when he woke up and the way his eyes shone at me, you could tell that he got it. He got it. And he felt that pain, and he never wants to feel that pain again. So I think that one little moment is going to motivate him to do what he needs to do to take care of him tonight.
So you think you beat his ass so bad that you convinced him to fight for his life?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, because I was kind of questioning why you put him to sleep while we were training him. But I mean, it kind of makes sense now.
It's tough love. I mean, I had it done to me when I broke into the business. I got my ass whipped all the time, and it motivated me not to get my ass whipped anymore. So I hope he really is motivated by that.
I think it worked.
I hope so.
I'll say this. He earned that good ass cookie.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he really did.
He did. He busted his ass.
Yeah.
He earned those chips. He earned that cookie.
Yep.
And we're going to take him out. Isaiah's got a huge after party plan tonight.
Massive.
Massive. And
Massive.
all the cookies, all the chips, whatever he wants. And
Yeah.
it's all on me
The
tonight.
Hennessy.
I'm flipping the bill.
He said lots of Hennessy. That was a big request from Stoke. Yeah.
I know he's a big soul food guy. Are you like flying in Sylvia's for the celebration, or?
I'm going to get him whatever he wants. Whatever he wants. I've got a personal chef here that I just hooked up with last night that I'm going to bring him out. Whatever he wants, he's going to pull.
I love Big Money Matt.
Yeah.
Oh, Big Money Matt. It
Yeah.
comes through clutch, man. The Italian stallion rubbed off in the right ways. When it goes to that, I did find it peculiar. And Ethan, I think you pointed out in the video, you were preparing him for this match with Hook and all the suplexes, but you kept body slamming him over and over again. That was a bit odd, man.
I thought that was bizarre, but I mean, what Matt just said kind of blanket covers everything. Like, it's tough love. Like, he's just trying to callous him. And this is a guy who hasn't been bumping in a ring regularly. So, I mean, if I was to just go right off the bat, what should we do to callous someone's back? It would be body slams. So, I mean,
it was instinctual.
Yeah.
And he really is. I mean, he's toughened up throughout the course of our training sessions. He's really toughened up quite a bit, and his cardio's up, and he's gonna be ready for tonight. We're excited.
Well, that's going to be a big match on this Dynamite, as is Kenny Omega versus El Hijo del Vikingo. This thing has blown up all over the internet. Matt, you and I were texting a whole bunch about this. This was announced on Twitter last week. They had a little vignette for Vikingo on Rampage as well to get ready for this match. I think from an in-ring perspective, Tony was right calling it a dream match. It could be one of the best matches we see all year on television, but it did stir some chatter among the fan base as to proper promotion for a match and where's the story. And I'd love to hear your guys' input on that. Matt, I'll start with you. I'd love to hear what your take is on how you go about introducing someone that the audience may not be familiar with.
I get why TK did it. I mean, I think TK is playing to the hardcore AEW base, and it probably made those guys go crazy when they heard this match announced. They're so excited. But I still do believe there's a number of AEW fans and supporters who are more casual watchers who probably haven't heard of who he is. I would have loved to have seen a vignette on him. I would have maybe loved to have seen him in action in a match before and then built to the Kenny match. That would have been ideal or optimal, but we don't live in an optimal world either. TK was ready to get that match on. It could be the only date that Vikingo had. So we made it happen. It's happening tonight. Him versus Kenny Omega is going to be a breathtaking match that is going to be just absolutely insane. I have no doubt.
Ethan, are you at all familiar with Vikingo's work and what he brings to the table for AEW?
Oh, yeah, big time. I mean, we would travel to Mexico when I worked for Impact Wrestling, and he was someone that blew my mind and caught my eye instantly. So personally, as a fan, when the match was announced, I was very excited. I guess to touch on the fan comments, I don't know, why do people care so much how other people make their money? Like, it's just so bizarre to me that people care so much about other people's decisions. At the end of the day, my boss wanted to put this match on television. If you want to watch it, watch it. If you don't, it's all right. I liken it to like mixed martial arts. I mean, there's fighters that have never fought on television before that have crazy records on, lower level fights, and they earn their way to the big stage, and not everyone knows who they are. But at the end of the day, if they blow people's minds with their performance and their fight and their skills, they become a national star overnight. So, I mean, just watch the match and see what happens. I assume he's going to make a great impression.
Yeah, that was kind of my take, where I was like, sure, could you have maybe introduced a vignette on Dynamite, the most watched program? Sure. But also, like, it has literally no impact on me as somebody who does not get a paycheck from AEW. Like, it doesn't impact my bottom line or any of the other fans that are watching this program. So the people who are in charge, they have the discretion to do things as they please when it comes to that. And it just always baffles me how fans wage these like weird wars on behalf of companies. Like, I am this warrior for WWE. I am this warrior for AEW. It just, I don't know, Matt. Is it just that whole tribalism thing?
I mean, it's a really intriguing concept that so many fans that consider themselves diehard fans, and this is no disrespect to them, but they are so caught up and captivated by the inner workings of the business and why things are happening. And, they feel like they could book better than the booker who actually runs the show. And, it's just, it's so crazy now. Wrestling fans feel so entitled, especially the more diehard smart fans that are online. They feel entitled, like, no, my opinion counts. You're wrong and I'm right. And that's very strange, but it is what it is. That's the world that we live in today. So we just have to learn how to deal with it. But at the end of the day, Tony Khan is the guy flipping the bills. He makes the decisions. He's paying everybody. So it is his decision to make. And if he makes it, I support him 100%.
Also, I'm going to bury myself real quick to kind of help with this argument. Okay. I have been on AEW television steady, I would say regularly, for about 2 years straight. I still get people tweeting at me, who? So I don't care how many vignettes you do of this guy before he has his match. There's still going to be people that are like, who the F is this? Why is he on the show? Yeah. Because they just want to be those people and make those comments. So, I mean, you'll never please everybody.
No. I guess it just doesn't impact me in my personal life in any way how many views AEW Dynamite does on a given Wednesday. So I encourage people to potentially step outside that box just a little bit. But one thing that AEW did do this past week that really got quite a great reception, not just from the fan base, but it seemed like from the workers too. And Ethan, I'd love to ask you about it. The house show that it did in that fantastic venue. It seemed like it was a pretty special event for the locker room. What was it like?
It was one of my favorite days at work in the last 2 years of being at the company. It was just pro wrestling. That's all it was.
Yeah.
There was absolutely nothing other than performing for the people that were there. And the people that came to the venue treated us, the whole show, as if they were so grateful that we showed up to their town. It was the way they treated us. I felt like the biggest star in professional wrestling. It was incredible. It was a day I'll never forget, and I hope they do them more often.
House shows are the best, man. And I think we have such a young roster as it is anyway, to allow talent to go in there without the pressure of television, without really tight time constraints, and go out there and just learn how to make their craft better is so beneficial to everyone. So yes, I hope they continue doing house shows as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seemed like it got a great reaction. And I actually, just as we started taping this, got another email from AEW PR that says there's going to be more live events coming. So you'll be getting a whole new circuit. Yeah, I literally just made it 5 seconds ago. So more live events coming from AEW. So be on the lookout. Matt Hardy, get ready, buddy. You're hitting the road again. Are you guys going to travel like back in the Freebird days? You, Jeff?
Of course. Hell yeah. Yeah, of course. We ride together. We break bread together. Hell, we hill a room together. But now, like, just if you and Isaiah, if you could take turns alternating on a cot just to give the old guy, a bed in the room. Anyway,
yeah, that's
we have a double.
Isaiah could take the shot.
You're right. Isaiah's young.
Yeah.
Isaiah's very young.
He's got a better back than me.
You're right. There we go.
Matt, I've got an idea. You should take them over to a rest stop someday and just see.
Yeah, should. Yeah. Put him to the rest stop test.
I'm sure Ethan's heard that story, and it doesn't matter if he hasn't. It's fine. You'll figure it out as things go along.
Great. So I will tell you this: when Michael said we were going to ride together, he said we have to be bonded. We're going to be like the new birds. He said we hill a room. We'll stay in the same room together. He said, although you and Jeff, you can alternate who sleeps on the cot and who sleeps in the other bed. I always get a bed, motherfucker. So then one time he wouldn't allow us. The first time we drove with him, we stopped at a Cracker Barrel. And at this Cracker Barrel, we order our food, and he's like, "Where's the fucking alcohol? Where's the alcohol?" And I said, "Well, that's Cracker Barrel doesn't have alcohol. They don't have beer, alcohol, whatever." He says, "Well, that's it. I'm putting my foot down. No more stopping at a place that doesn't have a bar. You sons of bitches."
Oh my gosh!
So we went to a place, or Fridays or something, and Michael had a very significant regular routine. He always did every time. He would order his food. He would drink. And he would keep his stomach empty, so he'd fill the bus as much as possible. He'd get as altered as he could, and then he would get the food to go.
Yeah,
and then we get in the car and drive to the next town. So there was one point where we were driving to this next town, and he had done the same routine, and we went to a bathroom. Jeff had to go pee. And Michael said, "Oh, watch this, watch this, watch this." And Jeff like ran, and he's in the stall like peeing. And Michael went to the stall beside me. And he said, "Watch this." And he pulled down his pants and held his cock real hard, and like just squeezed it. And his head got huge. And then he said, "Whew," and let it go. And then like peed over the stall into there. Jeff's like, "Ah!" That's one of my famous Michael Hayes stories.
Oh my God.
Well, he didn't say it was going to be you. Like, it could be Zay that ends up with it, like.
Isaiah's the Jeff. He does this one time.
Oh, that's true. Oh my gosh.
We have fun here on the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy every single week, available at extremehardy.com and adfreeshows.com.
Your history, by the way, makes so much more sense now.
Oh yeah, for sure. We used to be the kids until this pro wrestling business fucked us all up.
Just wait till you hear the stories about single Matt Hardy. That's a whole nother chapter in the book. But Matt, I know you and I were kind of talking off camera real quick about some of the stuff going on this build to WrestleMania. The Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Cody, Roman Reigns, Usos, the Bloodline, all that good stuff going on.
Right.
Some pretty big stuff happened on TV this past week. Anything you wanted to add on that front?
I got to watch back this morning while I was doing cardio, the Cody and Roman promo, which I liked a whole lot. And I loved the fact that Roman, in a roundabout way, mentioned AEW, talked about Cody leaving WWE, starting the company, going there. And the story was great. And I thought Cody's mental gymnastics towards him, trying to play mind games with him, was done really well also. And I think there's been great hype for this match. And once again, I know when we talked about the different outcomes that could have happened, a couple months ago, and we ended up saying we think Cody, Roman at Mania, and then the Usos versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Those things are going to happen, and we were dead on. And I think it's being done so well.
I agree. I thought the segment with Cody and Roman Reigns, where Cody basically turned Roman's gaslighting on himself, and pretty much, in my opinion, laid out how the fall of the Bloodline is going to unfold in the next year. So I thought that was kind of cool. And Cody's in a big match. Ethan, I know you're a big Cody guy, and your history is well documented together. Seeing him in a WrestleMania main event, I mean, again, the business supports the business, right? Like, the fans may have these wars between companies, but these are all your peers ultimately at the end of the day. And I'd have to imagine for you, seeing Cody living his best life, it's got to be a pretty cool thing.
Of course. I mean, I also admire someone that is willing to say out loud, "I'm going to do something," and then they actually do it.
Yeah.
So to me, like, that's the ultimate, and he's killing it.
Yeah. He absolutely is. The Build to WrestleMania going on. I'm actually heading out to LA next Wednesday, so Matt and I will be laying down a very special edition of the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy next week, folks, celebrating, since it's WrestleMania week, TLC 2. I cannot wait. Maybe the biggest match of your career, all things considered, Matt Hardy. So we're going to take a big deep dive on that next week. All right, tomfoolery out of the way. Every single week here, we have a tradition. Matt Hardy, please hit us with your Matt Fact.
Matt Fact: Matt judges people who stand still on people movers.
Oh,
I am
good.
You're talking airport people movers here, right?
Of course.
Okay.
It was reiterated because yesterday I was doing that to make a connection. And as I was walking through, there was just people standing there and just like looking on their phone, doing this, like whatever, with their bags on the way. And excuse me. It's just like, if you want to walk on a people mover, that's not really the purpose. It's to help expedite the process, and people in an airport are going and moving, whatever. So just like, don't take it. Just like, stand off to the side if you have time to kill and you want to read your phone, do this, whatever. Like, don't get in the space where people are actively trying to move to maybe make a connection or whatever.
And there's usually 2 lanes.
Yeah.
Walk and stand.
Yeah.
Just look at the floor.
And a lot of times people will also like block the other side.
Yes, to talk to their person that they're standing next to. Oh yeah, that drives me nuts.
Single Matt Hardy would have been walking, but Dada Matt Hardy's got to take that people mover. Got to get home just a little bit quicker. So I that entirely. Now, Ethan, rumor has it you have an Ethan fact of your own. So, my friend, please hit us with your Ethan fact.
This is my Ethan fact. When I was a kid, I used to take a block of cheese, cut off the ends, and dip it in ketchup. There's was a delicious treat.
Cheese and ketchup.
Yeah,
I like how specific it was.
it was no mustard.
Oh, get that out of here. We got no time for any of that. On the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy. Man, did you have Matt? You grew up in the boondocks. Did you ever have any like weird food tropes?
My dad cooked for us when we were young, so it was all pretty nasty shit. So I would say all of it was pretty rough. I think that's why I have a stomach of iron now.
What's your like dad go to, like, because you got to step up every once in a while and make a meal or two.
Yeah.
Mine, I'm a breakfast guy, so it's pancakes.
Okay.
And my daughter now is like, Dad, make pancakes. So I'm a superhero, and it's the easiest thing to make. Or a grilled cheese sandwich. Those are my go-tos.
My biggest go-to, which they do like right now, which Barty, my third son, youngest, he calls it cheeseburger tuna. It's just like the regular one. It's like honey barbecue tuna or whatever.
Okay.
It tastes good, but on the front it has a picture in like buns, so he calls it cheeseburger tuna. He's just gonna have cheeseburger tuna.
Okay.
So often my go-to, if I'm cooking them a good meal, is usually like I'll make rice, which is very simple. Get rice together and then put rice with a little tuna on top. That's like my go-to if I'm like making food for them.
All right.
Although Wolfgang, he loves pancakes. And there's been times now recently where he said, Dad, can I have pancakes? I said, sure. And I'll pull out one pack that has like 3 in it. He says, no, I want 6. I want 6. And he'll sit there and eat all 6, man. He's a maniac. It's like, dude, you got to have some protein. You got to have some protein.
Well, they just got to ask T.O. Ethan to make them some pancakes now.
No problem. Anytime they want.
Let's kind of dig into the weeds here, man. I'm glad you're joining us on the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy. And I'm truthfully glad you guys have gotten to know each other very well because, Matt, when you kind of first gave me the idea, you're like, yeah, I think we're going to start, working with Ethan Page here in the firm. I was like, man, what a great pairing that's going to be, because I've always felt like you two have very similar pro wrestling minds and acumen for the industry. What was your initial impression, Ethan, on learning that you were going to get a chance to tag along with Matt Hardy here?
What answer do you want? The truth?
I want your honesty.
There was obviously some nerves, because in what world would the champion of my figure wrestling promotion end up being under the thumb of a 32-year-old jackass from Canada? So it was like, I had to pull my pants up a bit and prepare to work with like one of my favorites, which turned out great.
Man, Matt, hearing that you were the champion of his figure league.
Actually, he almost got me in a lot of trouble, because when he won the title, it was through a flaming table, and the flaming table caught the carpet. And my mother was not very happy with burnt carpet in my bedroom, because the smell stuck around for a bit.
Oh,
so you literally lit your action figure table on fire?
Yeah, with hairspray and a lighter.
Oh my goodness.
It was a big finish.
Funny, I have a fire story as well, talking about backyard festivities and being a wrestling fan growing up. So the initial trampoline that we begged our dad for, we built a little ring around it. It was like in our backyard, and we started putting up these walls around it, which was like these long, like tarp things that we would cover tobacco with whenever we take it to market. And my brother would spray paint on it, and we had like an arena whenever we would save up and rent a VHS camcorder for $25, and we'd record a whole show.
You would rent it?
Yeah.
Oh my
for the
gosh.
weekend.
That's so cool.
and as teenagers. So then one of my friends was digging a hole to put up the arena around one time, because we'd have to take it down every time. And he cut our power line off. And my dad was furious over that, obviously. And then we had to change it. So we ended up moving it out in the woods, and we cleared out this big space. I went out with, an axe, and I cut down all these trees, whatever. And then we're going to put the arena. It was going to be in permanently. So I said, man, we just got to get rid of like these stumps and all this tree and all this rubbish, whatever. So we were going to burn it. And we did this while my dad was away at work, me and Jeff. And we caught our woods on fire. And it got out of hand. We called the fire department. My dad's coming home. There's fire trucks out there going crazy. They have to dig a whole ditch around the area.
Oh my
so we got pretty big heat over that deal. So that was my story, building our TWF arena out away from my house in the woods.
The worst thing ever happened with backyarding with me was we had the cops called, but it's just because it looked like a bunch of delinquents were fighting. There was thumbtacks and mattresses and people jumping off of like little structures at the park. Never fire though.
Yeah, we had a tough one there. Jeff and I, we both had shorts on. It was during the summer too, and it was dry. We were just dumb kids trying to like, build our wrestling arena. And I'll never forget how we were like breaking down like small pine trees, and we were trying to we were beside the fireman who had all the gear on and hoses, and we're like trying to put out the fire to ourselves. It was so absurd. And we both had like, we were all red and like burnt from just being right exposed to the fire. So it was psychopaths.
Yeah. And then the final deletion rolls around and you get lit on fire for real.
Yes.
Scorched.
Yeah, that was a big ass fire.
Yeah.
That came pretty full circle there for you there, Matt Hardy. But I'd love to know, Ethan, when did you first become familiar with the Hardy Boys? It's well documented. You were obviously a big wrestling fan growing up. You were big on the WWF. The Rock is one of your guys. So when did the Hardys come into the equation?
I mean, the whole Attitude Era, and then I owned a VHS tape. I can't remember the name of it.
Tables, ladders, and chairs?
No. It was it went through a couple storylines that happened over a certain period of time, and the whole storyline of the money hanging ladder match. It was like documented. I was like maybe 15-20 minute segment of this VHS, and I think there was like a storyline with The Rock and somebody, and maybe like 2 or 3 other ones, and it showed either the full match or clips of the matches. But I would rewatch the 4 VHSs that I had. It was like Know Your Role, that one. I think I maybe had like the Stone Cold one, maybe a DX one, and I would just watch those 4 tapes over and over. So, I mean, that ladder match I've probably seen 100 times.
That, of course, being the tag team ladder match that kicked off the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy back on episode 1, available in the archives. Matt, is that still something that is kind of strange for you to hear when people that you're actively working with are like, yeah, I was preteen watching the tag team ladder match and seeing you do your thing?
Yeah, I mean, it is. It is, and it isn't. Because I try and think currently in the present, and like you're working, your group of peers and colleagues, it's constantly changing, evolving. So I do dig that, but I've just been around for a long time. Like Jeff and I, we're still lucky that we are physically able to do this, at this stage of the game, 31 years deep. So I think it's cool, and more than anything else, it's just very flattering and humbling. There are so many people that watched us and were inspired by it or dug us, or, there were a lot of people I feel like that saw myself and Jeff, and they're like, well, they're smaller guys and they're able to make it, and they're able to like attain this level of success. Like I can do it too. I think there was that exists to inspire thing was very true to us too. Like that expression that we had, and it still really is very, very real. And I think it's cool that part of our history is that we seem like normal guys. People would say this too, because of the way we dressed and the way we did. They said like, if we knew Matt and Jeff Hardy, it seems like we'd be friends because they're like cool, regular guys, kind of down to earth. And I feel like we kind of gave off that vibe. So the fact that we were able to inspire, like a generation was really, really cool. And it just reminds me of like some of the same things I would tell Shawn Michaels, because Shawn Michaels was a big guy for myself and Jeff, obviously for that tag team ladder match, him and Razor, their ladder matches, while myself and Jeff started doing ladder matches on independent shows in front of 20 people and out there taking bumps like psychopaths, So I feel similar to that. And I just feel very blessed to be still able to do what I do right now. And I'm having a great time. Whenever myself and Ethan and Isaiah go out there and have these 6-man tags, I mean, the synergy that you see between us is very, very real. And it is some of the most fun I've had in a long, long time. And everybody's vibing, man. And I'm really enjoying the hell out of what we're doing right now.
Can I give you my perspective of me remembering that match?
Please.
So I was texting you this the other day. Well, all the guys. There is a difference, okay, between most of our roster walking out the curtain and Matt Hardy walking out the curtain. And there's just an impact that guys of that generation had on the general public and wrestling fans in general. We just don't have that level of impact right now. And that's not knocking anyone that's in wrestling now. I think there's lots of very talented people. It was just a different time. And I feel, because I get to be out there with Matt, the difference. It's like a different crowd just shows up when Matt Hardy comes out. They're the same people sitting in those seats. Mm-hmm. But the noise they make is way different. Though you can literally feel them get excited and not be able to control themselves because of the effect that Matt had on them so many years ago. And it's lasted the test of time. I was one of those people. I just ended up in the wrestling business. If I didn't, I'd be one of the people in the stands making lots of noise too. So I'm just a part of that generation that was affected for life. And it's ultimately changed my goals in wrestling. Like obviously I want to win championships and I want to leave a lasting impression, but I want to affect the fans so much that I have a long enough career because I've left such an impact. And yeah, it's just that is why this man is completely different than anybody else going today. It just has that lasting impression.
Thank you. That was very, very kind. Thank you for those generous
No
words.
problem.
And I just, you know, once again, there's still so much I can contribute, you know, even working with these guys. And I've said this before, like Private Party, Isaiah specifically right now, I mean, they're going to be a part of my legacy. It's important for me to try and make those guys be as important as possible and to emotionally connect with as many people as possible. I mean, same thing goes for Ethan right now. And I really enjoy this role here. And sometimes, as we were talking about earlier, the fans online, you know, with their entitled opinions, no, this is how I would do it. This is what I want to see. You know, like get Matt Hardy out of here. Get this old fucker out of here who can't do a 450 anymore, who can't do a springboard moonsault anymore, or whatever it would be. They'd say, like, there's still obviously big contributions I can make to help give back to the business. And they're not looking at the big picture in the big scheme of things. So it's great. These AEW crowds are very fun, especially Winnipeg last week was great. It was a huge house and just the turnout there. And I was, once again, very blessed. I was on TV when 5, 6, 7 million people were watching wrestling every week. It was a big time. I remember going to Myrtle Beach, which was where we would go during graduation and whatnot. And I remember going to Myrtle Beach and our shirts were in every store. The Hardys. I mean, that was, I mean, I get chills even saying that again. It was just, that was a huge deal to me. Like, holy shit, like this is crazy how successful we have become when this happens. That's like when wrestling was so, you know, during the height of the Attitude Era and the Monday Night Wars, it was bigger than ever, you know, and that was just so impactful to see that, like, holy shit, like we have half-ass made it. You know, so I'm very blessed to have had a lot of great TV time in the past, and a lot of those fans, they've really stuck with me throughout the course of the 3 decades I've been around, and I hope they stick with me for another decade.
I mean, you crack through pop culture. Like that's like the Hardys will be a part of history forever, with or without wrestling. It's just like that's like my wife brings it up all the time. She came from Colombia, they didn't speak English, and they watch professional wrestling. And they're like, oh, I remember the Hardy Boys. Yeah. It was the crazy brothers that would jump off the top rope all the time. Right. It's like it's just that we don't have that kind of impact right now. I really wish we did, to kind of like bleed into pop culture. And it was just a different time.
What was it about the Hardys that really grabbed you back in the day?
Oh, I mean, the risk taking. Most of the wrestlers were giants, most lumbering giants. Yeah. And these guys were energetic, entertaining, charismatic, but most of all, just crazy. And they were having matches that if I was a wrestler at the age of 13 or whatever I was, I would be like, these are the matches that I want to be having. Like, these guys are wild. Yeah.
And that's kind of that lasting impact that the Hardys have resonated with over the past 2 decades. But I don't know. And I'm going to ask you this, and I'm sure Matt would probably agree with me, but you strike me as a V1 guy. I feel like back in the day, Ethan Page would have been all about V1.
Oh, what do you mean? Once you are a fan of somebody, you're going to follow them along through their process. And Matt's a guy that, I mean, there's a couple guys that I've tried to mold my career after, as far as like people reinventing themselves and kind of showing you like, hey, you don't have to do the same song and dance every week for the next 5 years. You can start a story, end a story, and then kind of jump into this next chapter or next level. And I've tried to do that throughout my career too, to kind of have like different periods to draw fans in. And you're like, oh, I remember when he was doing this for this period to this period. And I hope that people talk about what we're doing right now as a good chapter in my career.
Yeah. On top of that, Matt, like he had the whole Karate Man stuff too, which there's certainly some Matt Hardy inspiration there, is there not?
I dug that. I need to go back and watch that in its entirety too.
I don't know if you do.
But the story. I'm the guy who did Broken Matt Hardy. I want to watch it. You know, the story you were talking about, you put that together and you filmed it just because it was during the pandemic and so crazy. Like, I mean, once again, that just shows. I mean, I appreciate you have a very high level of creativity, and that's something I greatly appreciate. You know, obviously,
thank you.
I try to be a creative person myself, and just the fact that you did that, and you're like, okay, well, I'm kind of sitting at home, I'm doing this, let me put this together, and I can kind of make some magic, and that's making the most out of whatever scenario you get. And I know we've said this is kind of like been a motto for us with what
Yeah.
we're doing. Like, we'll take whatever opportunity we are given and
Of
we'll make the
course.
most of it.
Yeah.
That's what we've done.
Hey guys, Double J, Jeff Jarrett. Need to call a timeout real quick here. I wanted to tell your listeners what I've been telling my world listeners for a while now. It's about all the incredible things happening over on adfreeshows.com.
A brand new series has arrived on Ad Free Shows. Top of the Card unpacks everything you need to know in the wrestling trading card space. And we're starting with the granddaddy of them all, the 1982 Wrestling All-Stars Series A set.
Now, this set was not exclusive to any one territory at the time, as we were still right at the tail end of the territory era of professional wrestling. So it was basically a who's who in professional wrestling, with card number 1 being Andre the Giant. Others included in the set include Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, Ted DiBiase, and others.
20 years ago, Eric took on Stone Cold in the main event on Raw, but the real main event was the confrontation that happened backstage before the show.
Now, the next week, I'm sitting in this chair, and that same guy, I don't think I had said a word to him that day. I don't think I had seen Rick up until the point he came through that door. And he's, getting me, just telling me to get up, get out of the chair. He's so pissed off, he's bleeding. I'm on the phone, and he's got blood running down his chin because he bit his lip. He was so mad, he bit the inside of his mouth.
He's got blood on a backstage confrontation.
I hadn't even gotten out of the chair yet.
Ad Free Shows members got to sit shotgun alongside Kevin Nash and Click This co-host Sean Oliver as they watch back some of the worst matches in history. None more so than the Yeti.
Randy, now the mummy is not Frankenstein. You don't walk with your arms straight out,
with the arms out, right? And a Yeti is also not a mummy, but I don't know. Was it Jim Hurd? Who was here? Well, whose brainchild was this?
Who gives a fuck?
Hey, that's just a small taste of what Ad Free Shows has waiting for you, including a brand new perk, getting to join in on the live recordings of the shows with 4 levels to choose from. See for yourself why Ad Free Shows is the best value in wrestling today. Sign up now at adfreeshows.com. That's right, sign up today at adfreeshows.com.
Matt, we are officially in the spring, my friend.
And I am ecstatic about that, as you know.
I know you are, because rumor has it, according to your wife, you guys live in the forest.
We do live in the forest.
And with that Hardy compound, there's a ton of landscaping to be done. And you got the best in the business out there, do you not, my friend?
I do. We are gifted with Senior Benjamin, and he does take great care of all those lawns. But we can always take better care of those lawns. And how can we do that, John?
We can do that with our newest partners here at the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy. I, of course, am talking about Sunday. Now, Matt, I got to admit, I felt a little bad watching some of the Broken Universe stuff because it seemed like Senor Benjamin was really putting the work in, sometimes being bossed around by someone's broken brilliance, but it didn't seem like he had a whole lot of help there taking care of the lawn over at the Hardy compound.
Yeah. Since Sunday has been introduced into his life, it makes his world and day a lot easier.
I would imagine that it does, because Sunday is everything that you need to get the dream long that you have long strived for. This spring, go to getsunday.com/Hardy and enter your address to get a customized plan created just for your lawn. Now, you kind of live in the sticks, so it's not exactly easy for Senor Benjamin to just roll on down to a lawn care place or a hardware store to get the necessary tools and products for your lawn, is it?
No, not at all. And that's the beauty of this. Sunday sends it right to us. And now Senior Benjamin, it saves him time from having to go anywhere to get it. He can get his job done with Sunday right here and there.
Everything ships directly to your home. All you need is a hose to supply your lawn with all of Sunday's benefits. You can fertilize your whole lawn in less time than it takes for you to watch an episode of The Extreme Life of Matt Hardy. And they only use ingredients that you know you're going to feel good about putting on your lawn. I know, Matt Hardy, with these sprawling fields you have on the Hardy compound, you only want the best stuff. And Sunday has been helping you get things green for the spring.
It really has. And I got to tell you this, Sunday has done such an amazing job. in my yard on the Hardy compound, I got to tell you a little secret. Brother Nero has started using Sunday as well.
Yeah, I think with all the damage he did to his lawn with the fires and the motocross and everything, he needed some serious help, and he too has turned to Sunday to help get things right. No harsh chemicals, no long waiting periods of trying to keep your kids or your pets, if you have any of those, off your lawn. Simply apply, let it dry, and you are back to enjoying your yard. Sunday is easy, and not only is it easy, Matt, I know you love something that is affordable and a good discount, my friend.
Yes, indeed. And Sunday is giving you a 20% discount.
20% off through Sunday. Full season plans start at just $109. We're talking about some lawn care services costing $1,500 a year. Not Sunday. Full season plans starting at $109, and you can get 20% off when you visit getsunday.com/Hardy at checkout. That's 20% off your custom plan at getsunday.com/Hardy. Matt, when you first started working with Ethan, and yeah, maybe he was being a little, with all due respect here, Ethan, a little dickish to you.
Okay. I've had to rewatch the footage. I've tried to make amends. We're on a good path, but I regret a lot.
Okay. I mean, it takes a man to admit that. I can appreciate that. But Matt, what were your initial impressions of working with Ethan?
Initially, once again, I was very fond of his creativeness. I was also very fond of his work ethic. Whenever he starts throwing around ideas, he's very much of a group participant where guys kind of throw ideas in the middle and they keep working on it to get the best idea that you can possibly have. And I feel like, as I said before, the synergy between me, him, and Isaiah has been really, really good. I mean, we're really hitting a great stride right now. But, my initial thoughts of him is like, wow, he's a guy who really gets it. And he understands how, this might not be the best thing on the show, this spot that you're going out to do right now, but hey, let's make it as good as we possibly can make it. And I respect that. He has a strong work ethic. He's very creative, very talented in what he does, and he knows his stuff. So I was immediately a fan of his work and him as a person as well.
You're gonna make me all blush in here.
Well, I guess I'll ask you then, Ethan. How do you go about figuring that process out of working with somebody who you admired a lot growing up, and now you're in a position of leverage? And I don't just mean that in story here. This is Matt stepping into your world. The firm got a pretty damn big debut, and they come into the equation here. What was that process like at the beginning for you, and trying to figure out, okay, how do we put point A to point B?
If this is going to ruin my career, the first thing I do is just eliminate my ego, because there's too many people that kind of have to make everything work. So if I make it all about me, there's going to be people butting heads instantly. The second thing is, he's a legend. He comes with an enormous amount of experience. And if I want to make it any further in wrestling, I feel like the first thing would be is to open my ears. And then once we kind of started vibing together, I was like, oh, okay. Then I become more comfortable. I'll start sharing more ideas. But right off the hop, I'm 9 times out of 10 going to be more respectful and kind of ears open, mouth shut kind of thing. And once everything started gelling well, and it was so much easier to kind of express my ideas and stuff like that, I was like, oh, Matt's the coolest. And now we are where we are, which is in a great place.
And plus, I think a bond that we shared, we're both married to Spanish women.
Oh,
so
there you go.
All about that.
Yeah, surviving.
Yes, surviving.
No, but I guess I ask this because, listen, anyone who pays attention to AEW programming knows this. When the beginning of this firm story happened, it seemed like it was going to be positioned in one direction, and then there were some changes that were made along the way, and different pieces came into the equation, and now here we are. So how do you guys roll with some of those punches on the fly? I'm sure there's stuff that the general public has no idea about. How do you guys put those pieces together?
Well, I found myself in a scenario after, Jeff had his incident, where I was just kind of floating along. Obviously we had plans for throughout the summer into the fall to do Hardy Boy stuff. And then once that didn't happen, I was just kind of in limbo for a while. And then this opportunity, came up to work with Ethan's son. And, I said, okay, well, let's give it a shot. And once again, I go into the mentality of like, let's make this as good as we possibly can make it. And we have done so much on our own to really create input, create ideas, create content that we can do that really enhances, the firm and our story of the firm and the Hardy Party, and us kind of like coming together and sinking together as one. And I love the fact that we were both open to going out and doing stuff on Elevation or Dark or whatever it could be. And we said, like, we want an opportunity to do this together because we really think we have a special package here. And then it did become so good that we kind of forced their hand to put us back on TV. And I think the next few weeks are going to be some pretty amazing TV, I think. And I really like where we're at. And it's one of those things where I think this is going to really pop off in the big scheme of things. There's a lot of people that are saying, like, low key, like, this has been going on for 6 months. It's one of the most entertaining stories and concepts on the show, whatever. And I really think we're going to solidify that in the next few weeks.
And I get those tweets all the time. I see it, especially what I loved, Ethan, were the extended backstage segments that we were getting with you and Matt, especially on like Dark and Dark Elevation, that they would throw on social, because sometimes there's equal value in getting those extended segments on social media where people can hit that retweet button or that quote tweet button and share it. How did you, Ethan, feel that you guys were able to capitalize that? And can you take us through some of those segments? Because that's where we saw the real energy between you guys start to sync up, for better or for worse.
Well, I don't think that what the current iteration of the firm was the vision originally. And I think there was an incident that changed things for that too. But I'm of the same thought process as Matt, that you got to make the most of whatever you're given, and kind of the direction of everything started changing, which is where we started leaning more into heavily telling a story, and maybe even a little bit of comedy or entertainment. And then when we started kind of getting our hands on everything that was airing on the YouTube shows, they gave us like a big creative freedom, and there was no time restraints.
Yes.
So we could let things breathe and kind of be more in the moment and less kind of confined by a time or an editor.
Yes.
And it came off a lot more natural. Also, we kind of got to know each other as performers and our cadence and our delivery. So like, if you watch them in order now leading up to where we are now, like, our timing is so like incredible. Our chemistry is 10 times better than it was when we first started. And I would say we're comfortable.
Yeah.
And again, I think that's why everything is kind of clicking and vibing. And like, even just the training montage that we did, that was so collaborative. And you saw ideas from everyone on screen is what aired. So it was not just one person kind of directing traffic. It was Isaiah, oh, this would be funny. Stokely, oh, this would be hilarious. Or Matt, I'm going to body slam this guy. I'm just going with the flow. Like, all right, let's see how this works. And everything kind of just works together.
But Matt, I know, because you and I would talk about it too, you really would get very excited about people getting to see some of these segments with Ethan, especially in the beginning, where we're seeing conflict. And like, conflict is kind of the genesis of pro wrestling, right? Like, that's why two guys fight each other in the end.
And, I mean, conflict is everything.
Right. And you guys had very passionate conflict in these segments. Take me through some of those earlier ones where maybe Ethan Page wasn't so as embracing of Matt Hardy. And how do you think that helped get us to where we are now?
Well, I think one of the best interactions that we had together was where I was so defiant over and over, and I didn't like the way he was treating me, and I was still being defiant.
Which you had every right.
And yeah, it is what it is. And then there was a point where he's like, maybe I can't take it out on you, but I can take it out on your kid's private party. And we went face to face, and he kind of gave me an ultimatum. He said, from now on, if you screw up, it hurts them. It affects them. And that was done right after a match. We came back. We did that. boom, and it was recorded. It was magical as it happened. And one of the cool things about having that on Elevation is it ended up being a little over 3 minutes, the segment. So if that's on TV, you're going to get 30 seconds, 45 seconds. So people got to see this interaction of emotion and this build between these two characters, like that are enemies at this time, which that was a very pivotal point, which changed my way of thinking and changed his way of thinking. And now we got to where we are now as being, best friends. So that's those moments and being able to take advantage of not having the constraints of TV and 45 seconds, a small window, being able to have 3 minutes and change to let people see what both of our personalities, what both of our characters are experiencing and let them feel that so they can get emotionally invested. That's the stuff I think that really worked for us. And that's what made it work. That was the bread and butter of this whole thing. And that was really the foundation of the story.
That's what I love about pro wrestling. It just sucks that over 100,000 people watch that clip of me being a giant douchebag.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It is what it is. We've grown, we've learned, and we bond, and those make for the strongest bonds.
So where'd that realization come in there, Ethan? That maybe you were being a little too hard on Matt Hardy and Private Party.
I mean, eventually I'm like, why am I being a dick to this guy? He's buying me new gear, buying me dress shirts, giving me great advice. Like, listen, this job is extremely frustrating. And it takes a toll on your mind mentally. It takes a toll on your body physically. Mm-hmm. And to have someone 30 plus years into wrestling that's had the career that he's had, giving me advice on how to, relax a little bit, be patient, I started to trust him. And now I go to him for advice. I know the power dynamic's a little different. I'm up here, Matt's maybe a little, but now we're trying to even it out. And we're becoming a good team.
You've been extraordinarily fair.
Oh, thanks.
It was his rapping skills that won you over, wasn't it?
Oh, man.
That's what it was. Yeah, for some reason I don't think it won Stoke over. Or as Matt called him, Stankley.
Listen, Stoke is a bit abrasive of a person, but I would say he's warming up to the idea of trusting these guys. I mean, he trusted us all to train him. Like I said, I scratched my head at one or two things, but at the end of the day, I would say he's ready, and he's ready because of Matt, Isaiah, and myself, not just me.
Yep. I totally concur when it comes to that statement. And I got to say this too, even Stokely, it was really hard to get him to put his guard down and kind of get to know him, and
that's true.
It's one of those things, Ethan and I, once we really allowed ourselves to be vulnerable around one another. That's when we realized how much we have in common and how working together is better than working against one another. And things worked out. With Stokely, it's I don't quite have that same bond with him, but once again, he's come around also. And now that he's training, he's doing this deal against Hook. I mean, I think this is going to be a very special moment tonight that is going to change the course of the firm and what we're currently doing. And I think everybody's going to end up being on the same page when we're all said and done.
Yeah.
I think people just got to understand, if you use the transitive property through Matt Hardy, you've experienced all these great things. I mean, Stone Cold Steve Austin put over Matt Hardy this past week, saying how much he enjoyed working with the enhancement days. That means in using the transitive property, Stone Cold Steve Austin loved working with Ethan Page back in the day. Okay. So just think about how those things work out at the end of the day here. And Ethan, what I love watching too is when you guys make these entrances, you are marking out, man, walking out to that iconic Hardy Boys theme.
Yeah, this is a period. Oh, it's the best. This is a period of my career I'll never forget, as connecting myself as a fan and as a performer. And we get a live mic. I genuinely look forward to every week, fingers crossed, that we get to do something on Elevation, because I live for the live audience.
Yeah.
I live to interact with them. I live for the reactions and to kind of play with them and take them on this journey from start to finish. There was a period where we were coming out and I was getting booed out of the building the second that we cut the music off. And then we were finding a way to convince the crowd that listen, we don't have to convince them. Now they know I'm a good guy. But there was a point of time where they did not trust me. Then we had to get them to trust me. Now they're all on the same page. And then at the end of the match, I get to rip the rug from under them and remind them how much of a jerk I was. And just to kind of play with the crowd and get them to eat out of the palm of our hands, it's something that I live for.
That's the addiction of pro wrestling too.
Yeah.
You know, which I had an interview yesterday, which I did through AEW. They're doing a piece on the Funk family, Dory Funk and Terry Funk, and we're talking about the Funk Conservatory, everything else. And I was just saying, you know, those guys who are in the business a long time, we were talking about Terry Funk, and the guy almost said, do you feel similar to Terry Funk and ECW, what you're doing now? And I said, in some ways I do, you know, because my job is to try and find guys that I think can carry this company on and be a pillar of the company for 10 years from now, and like do what I can to help benefit them or elevate them, whatever, give them some of my rub that I've been, you know, blessed with for all these years on television. And I do feel like that in some ways. But the reason I want to keep doing this is because I live for that too. It is like an addiction. It's one of the healthiest addictions you can have in some ways, even though pro wrestlers are insane because we intentionally beat up our bodies. But, you know, to hear those oohs and those ahs and to have people chant for you and to see people cheer when you do your taunt or whatever it may be, you know, it's just, you can't describe it unless you feel it. And it really is something that is extremely addictive.
And that's why I loved the house show.
Yeah.
There was this, it's the simplest thing, not to like pull the curtain back too much, but there was a moment in one of my matches that I just hooked my finisher. I just had the guy out of nowhere, had the guy over my head, and the whole place went nuts. And I was like, whoa, these guys watch the show. This is incredible. Like, it was such like an amazing feeling. I'm going to chase that feeling forever now. So yeah, that's my favorite part. And like to go back to our entrances, like, I live to have a mic in my hand and to do it with someone who's just as comfortable and is always going to get a reaction. I mean, it's like having the greatest security blanket, knowing that no matter what, when we go out there, these places going to be going nuts.
Well, Matt, we've reached that part of the podcast now where I need a little bit of an energy revitalization. And you know, my friend, that I am getting that with our pals at AG1s and Athletic Greens. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. I had my pick me up first thing, my AG1s. You know, that's how I start my day every single day. It is my routine. It is my ritual, and it will never change.
We're talking about one delicious scoop of AG1, and you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source, superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help start your day right. It's a special blend of ingredients supporting your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, aging, which that's why Matt Hardy looks so freaking good in the ring. And I also heard recently, Matt Hardy, that even the Hurricane, Shane Helms, in his advanced age is using AG1.
Well, he is. You know, we're trying to back up his age a little bit, you know, keep him around a little longer. So yes, he is definitely taking his AG1s and he is digging them as well.
It's lifestyle friendly, whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, gluten-free, or if you're a superhero. It contains less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals, artificial anything, while still tasting good and supporting sleep quality and recovery. Dude, I don't know about you. It is so hard for me to adjust to this time change, and thankfully AG1 is helping me do that.
Yes, same here. And I've enjoyed this time change. And AG1 made it a very seamless transition for me.
Tons of people are taking some kind of multivitamin. So wouldn't you want to pick one that has high quality ingredients that your body is actually going to absorb? Well, AG1 is a small micro habit with big time benefits. It's one thing you can do every single day to take great care of yourself and your health. And right now it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. Just 1 scoop in a cup of water every single day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D. And how many free travel packs for you, Matt Hardy?
5 free travel packs.
With your first purchase, all you got to do is visit athleticgreens.com/Hardy. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/Hardy to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. I've always been a big fan, too, of your all-around game. And I even said that early on to Matt, too, where I think you're a very multi-dimensional player as a professional wrestler. And when you were doing the work with Dan Lambert and Scorpio, like, great stuff. But I'm like, man, this guy, I know he has it in him to be a great talker and to command a great presence. So what I love about the Firm package is that, yeah, you have a manager in Stokely, But Stokely's not stealing mic time from anyone. He's the perfect complement to the package and everything that you've got together. What has that journey been like for you in finding yourself as a performer on this stage?
Oh, I mean, just with Stokely, like we worked together and befriended each other when we did the independents, and I contracted with Evolve Wrestling. We were both there during that whole period. So we had a previous relationship that is now bleeding onto the TV show. So we already had good chemistry and we already vibed. As far as kind of how I cater my performances, I'm of the thought that what I feel and what I think does not matter. It's literally the people that pay to come see me. So if my thought process going into what I'm about to do is, I hope I do good, I hope I like what I'm doing, then I'm not doing my job. I would say my job is, I hope the people enjoy this. I hope they have a good time. And I hope that they talk about this and come when we come back. So everything that I do is thinking of the people that are sitting in the seats.
What do you think about that, Matt, when you hear him say something like that?
Very good. And he's also very aware of whatever particular spot he's in as a character. He's very aware of what he should do and what he shouldn't do to elicit those reactions. So that's one thing that I highly compliment him on as well, because there's a lot of people that don't get that. He's been around, he's been wrestling for quite a while now, but he gets it. And when you can work with someone who gets it, it makes everybody's job so much easier.
So what now? I mean, you got Stokely in this match tonight with Hook. I don't know how that's going to go.
What do you think? Give us a prediction, John.
Yeah.
Give us a prediction. You've seen some of the training. You've seen
I have, and I've been following Stokely for a long time throughout the years. I've managed against Stokely. He's an outstanding performer, but in there with Hook, I don't know. I mean, you tapped real quick, Matt. Ethan, were you surprised by how quick that Matt tapped in that match?
I would have tapped out right away.
I mean,
I did at the house show. So
I mean, my job is to make money for the firm too. And if my shoulder is
can't make money,
I can't make money for them.
How are we going to win the trios titles?
Yeah,
if this man is hurt, and we're talking about a team that took the elite to their limit.
Yeah.
So I mean, the potential's there, and we have no potential if he ends up on the shelf like Mark Quinn, which we've already seen happen. So I'm not trying to lose more of our talent. So when he tapped out right away, I was like, all right.
So would you expect the same of Stokely here?
No, he's got to fight for his life. This is not an in-ring competitor.
Yeah.
You can't take that many losses to Hook in a row.
That's true.
Like we lost in the tag match. Then I lost to Jungle Boy, thanks to Hook. And then Matt, I mean.
Yeah. I got caught. I had to.
So what is that's three? That's 3 losses now.
Yeah.
He put Stokely's arm in a cast, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And now here we are. So we need the win. We can't do 4 in a row.
Yeah.
I wish we could be there I wish I could be out at ringside for my brother. It sucks that we're barred from ringside.
Yeah, I really didn't think that us
I didn't either. I thought we were just
legit. We were just joking.
I thought we were just having some sophomore fun.
Yeah, so did I.
Is that like a TK thing? Is that can that be settled in a meeting with him? Or?
Well, we tried.
Yeah, we tried, but he loved the concept and he thought it was going to draw. And TK's a numbers guy, so he thought Hook was going to draw. Yeah,
there was even a week where I refused to show up to TV because I knew if I showed up, they might have done Hook.
True.
Versus Stokely, and they just put together a nice package to keep us on TV on Rampage. But we were legally trying to make this match not happen.
Yeah,
because we didn't sign anything. We were just literally just dicking around in an interview.
Exactly.
That they edited, by the way. So who knows if that's what we even said? They could have did it in a different order and then told whatever story they wanted. And now here we are. One of my best buds is fighting Hook tonight.
And with this A1 technology, they may have even edited something in there.
They got the AI and all that stuff.
Yeah, the AI. Yeah, the AI, man.
Like, did I really say
deep
we
fake
should all be paying from ringside?
They could have put a deep fake where we said make the match, and they could have showed it to Tony. So
that's very true. And like
Taz may have done that.
I would believe that. Taz would do something like that.
And like Ethan, you said you were gone for a week. Like we couldn't have put the match on TV without a proper vignette to build to it anyway. So without that happening,
Oh, look at you.
I liked it. He protested,
Yeah.
stayed home. And then when he told me he was doing it, I said, "Hell yeah, I'm staying home too."
Hell yeah.
So at least it bought us another week to train Stoke.
Yeah.
But I mean, look,
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about Stoke tonight.
you're talking about potential trios and stuff. I mean, at the end of the day here, Ethan Page, what are you hoping that you guys all get out of this shared experience working together?
More TV time.
That's a good point.
Honestly, I just enjoy our natural chemistry and the way that we work together. You don't have that with everybody.
Yeah.
And in such a hungry environment where people are trying their best to eat, to be around people that are willing to share what's on their plate is a good feeling. It's a comforting feeling, and I hope it lasts a really long time.
Our process is really magical too. Just the way we group think, the way we work as a team for the greater good, and no one's individual ego comes first and foremost.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of that too.
Yeah.
And look, who's to say, maybe one day Jeff Hardy gets things going again, and all of a sudden you're looking at Ethan Page and the Hardy Boys as trio champions, and then your mom can't get mad at you for burning the scorching the rug there.
Well, I don't know about that. Also, I'm a pretty jealous person. So, I mean, we'll see. Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah,
But you could own the Hardy Boys as part of the firm.
Let's not throw around that O word. We're a team.
Yeah.
True. My bad.
But I'm sure. I mean, after if Jeff ultimately decides to come back, I just would share with him how amazing my experience has been. I'm sure he'd be happy to sign on with you.
Okay.
So,
Sure, he'd
I'm
be
just-
tipped.
All right, we'll talk.
have you visited the Hardy compound yet by chance?
Not yet, which is why I'm curious. Like, calling me Tio.
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta visit
Yeah. No, I got to get you in there. Got to get you in there to the arcade, to the gym.
before the end of the year. I should come to the compound.
Absolutely.
All right.
And I'll make sure too. You have a free membership to my gym. We'll comp you for a decade.
A decade.
A decade.
Okay, I'll take that.
A decade. Yes.
You step in that kitchen, you get mofungo.
Yeah.
This is a good day at the office. At the Hardy
Yeah, sounds good.
I'm just saying, man. Senor Benjamin's out there. Is there a part of the Hardy compound in particular that you'd really be just quenching to visit?
Yeah, where he's got all his action figures.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I've seen photos, little clips, but as a toy guy, I would love to see the whole thing.
Matt and
Cool.
I had this conversation with Matt Cardona too. I think it's so cool that we live in an era where it is celebrated in wrestling being a wrestling fan growing up and like being passionate about that. And I want to ask you, how much has that fueled where you are now?
So it fueled a lot, but I would say I had to kind of take that out of my brain in the last year or two. And I was just telling my wife the other day, I feel like once I eliminated the fan and the kind of preconceived oh, this is what I love about this and why I was a fan, and I eliminated that and I focused solely on what is my job today.
Mm-hmm.
What is my job
Yes.
to get done today? My career has gone way better. Mentally, I've been a lot better, and I feel like I'm doing my job a lot better too. So I think there's duality to it where it's a really good thing,
Yes.
and I'm glad that it's celebrated, but there's a point in time where you have to eliminate that, and you have to just, what is the task at hand here?
Yeah, it's important to have a clear separation.
Yeah.
I would definitely say.
Yeah.
Because it's real easy where you can think as a wrestling fan, this is kind of what I would like, but that's not necessarily what's always correct or best for business.
Right,
And
exactly.
you have to have that clear separation of the two.
Yeah.
But it is cool, like you said, that people can be acknowledged for that. Like I love how your toy hunts, they're such a big deal online and whatnot, and that can be celebrated. And the Matt Cardona thing, he does a very similar deal with the Major Pod. And when we broke into the business in the 90s, that was taboo.
True.
You weren't supposed to do it. You mentioned that stuff. You're like a mark, and they're going to kick you out of the locker room and all that. It's very different. And society has changed a lot over the last 20, 25 years as well, which has been a positive. And I am very good that is embraced. That people see that and like, okay, well, that's something that they personally love. It's a hobby they have,
Yeah.
whatever, and that's fine. The judgment is down quite a bit. It's not like they're judging someone who's standing still and the people move.
Well, and then plus, Matt, you're getting to work with someone who shares that same passion
Mhm.
for pro wrestling as you do. Have you seen that from Ethan working with him firsthand?
Absolutely, and it's infectious. You know, it motivates me. I mean, when you work with people that you really enjoy being around and working with, and you want to share ideas, you wants to constantly talk. You know, we have this group chat that we're constantly popping ideas in, and this, that, and, you know, stuff is coming from all sides, and everybody like takes that, and then we kind of like forge it into what is the best package, and then we try to move forward with it. And I feel like we've been like a very grassroots act here. You know, we weren't given anything. They weren't saying, okay, we're going to give you this big opportunity, go on TV and do this, do whatever. You know, I'll tell you this too. This is something that I'm going to confirm. After we worked with the Elite, there was a point where they wanted to work with us again because they had a couple ideas doing some other stuff too, which I don't even know if you knew that.
I did not know that.
And they wanted to work with us again because they really liked what we did in that match or whatever. And just, you know, once again, Nick just said like the story that you guys have all together and the interaction is just so good, so great. Which is a huge compliment because once again, we were like this, you know, melting pot of misfit toys. And we came together and then we made something out of nothing, you know, and now it's something that is on TV and it's a story that people are emotionally invested in. Right. And I take a lot of pride in that.
This has been an awesome conversation with All Ego Ethan Page, as the two former enemies have now become best friends, best frenemies, if you will. Ethan,
you're right.
For real.
Yeah.
Like, how could we not? It's almost creepy. I mean, this man ran an independent promotion called Omega. I ran an independent promotion called Alpha One. Okay. This man debuted in Hamilton. I am from Hamilton.
Right.
We're both married to Latinas.
Yes.
We both love being fathers. We both have alter egos.
Yeah.
Very bizarre similarities.
I think you should go as each other for Halloween.
Oh, it's okay. Sounds good.
That's not a bad idea. I don't hate it.
I like that.
You know, I don't hate it.
One of the other deities may have been Karate Man at some other, you know, time and place. Who's to say? But really, and I'd love to wrap with this, and something I'd like to ask a lot of the guests that we have here on the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy, ultimately a podcast about Matt Hardy and the Hardy Boys. What do you think Matt Hardy's legacy is in this industry? And now you can probably attest more to that, having worked first person with him.
I would say that he cares so much about entertaining the people, and like I said before, reinvented himself so many times that he's become a timeless performer, and it doesn't matter what era of wrestling, he's going to leave a lasting impression on the fans.
How about that? Man, you guys, you're chummy now. We got Captain Antonil here. This is great. Hey, man, we're so grateful to have you here on the podcast. This is one that Matt has been wanting to do for a really long time. Matt, is there anything else you'd like to add about Ethan?
No, it's one of those things. I just want to say, like, to anyone out there that is listening to this, or if you're watching this on YouTube and there's video involved, and you're just getting familiar with Ethan Page, like, write him down in your book and keep an eye on him, because he has all the potential in the world. If you take this guy and he's given the right opportunities, he can be a top level act at AEW, at WWE, anywhere. He has all the potential in the world, and he gets it. And that's going to take him a long way. I would say also his ability to be unselfish also is going to end up being very beneficial at the end of the day too. And it's going to keep him active. It's going to keep him moving, and expect big things out of him. If you've never seen him before, please start following him, because he has the potential to be a big deal.
Thanks, Matt.
I mean, you're a big deal as it is now.
Oh, stop it, you. That's great, man. Really glad to see you guys on the same page. That's the way wrestling should be, and having that brotherhood. Man, you guys are gonna be riding together in no time, going to all these rest stops, and well, maybe not the rest stops, but
we're riding together today. Yeah. Myself, Ethan, and Isaiah. We're driving to Independence. It's like 45 minutes from here.
Very nice. I like the sound of that. I like the sound.
Yeah,
never been happier to know we have a long drive.
We do, yeah.
Yeah, all right. Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's like, because we're at the like northwest corner of Kansas City. We have to go down through Kansas City. It's like a suburb in the southeast side. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun little drive.
You might even get entertained with some Matt Hardy rapping along the way. So it could be a fun car ride. Man, this has been so great. Thank you so much for hopping on with us here, Ethan Page. Next week, Matt Hardy, TLC 2, iconic Hardy Boy match. What can people expect when we talk about that?
Really is an iconic match. I mean, probably the first moment everybody thinks about, which is played more than any other moment, is you see my brother hanging from the ring and he gets speared off the ladder by Edge. You see Matt and Bubba crashing through those 4 tables, and it looks like an absolute catastrophe. There's going to be a lot of great insight behind the scenes about how that match came together, how we almost got into a fight putting the match together because we were arguing which spot is going to go last. But it's going to be a lot of fun, and you're really going to appreciate the details and also the respect we were given with this match too. Like, we had X amount of time, and some matches got cut on the show, but not ours, because they knew we were one of the advertised matches that were selling the pay-per-view, which was a huge compliment at that time.
We're going to be talking about that match, watching that match, and I can't even speak either. Matt Hardy and I did a watch-along of that on adfreeshows.com. If you haven't checked that out already, make sure you do. And also, folks, if you would like to advertise with the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy, head on over to advertisewithhardy.com. Promote your business to the extreme and get your product out in front of thousands of listeners and viewers every single week in the personal endorsement of Matt Hardy himself. And trust me, that goes a really long way at the end of the day here. Matt, this has been so great. Ethan Page, thank you so much for hopping on the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy. The words have been spoken. We'll see you next week right here on the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy.
Adios.
Lost